Surprise! I started early this week. Yay, summer! And it is going to be a hot girl summer. Just do not forget, it is legit hot outside like I did today. Today was our first pool day, which is very exciting, and my legs are lobster colored. Despite all of the sun screen that I had on, all of the zinc oxide I had on, my face managed to not get sunburned, but my legs and the tops of my feet are fried. So, PSA, if you are outside in flip-flops, if you are outside in little ballet flats, if you are outside, period, and the tops of your feet are not covered, it fucking hurts if that part of you gets sunburned. So cover it up with all the stuff. I have no idea how I'm going to get through anything tomorrow. The top of my feet hurt so much I don't think I'm going to be able to put on socks. Anyway, it's a mistake that I get to make once a year. Better now than on vacation, I guess. One other thing before we go any further into my favorite time of the week, I would like to reach out to everyone and say, I want you to go back last summer and then maybe the summer before and just get a little perspective on how you felt about yourself and how you look. One of the things that I do like about Facebook, and I know people have horrible things to say about Facebook most days, and I get that too. But one of the things that I like about it is every day it'll show me a memory of something that I posted a year ago today. And the one that came up really had me thinking, because remember when I got this picture, I was wearing one of our new Pride shirts that says "Life's a Marathon, please keep going." And I loved the shirt, but I hated needing to model it because I was over my weight, my usual weight, my happy place weight-wise. And I just really wasn't excited to take a photo in that shirt. Well, I look back a year ago at that picture, and I had only just stopped doing Pilates because we were into COVID. And I remember feeling fitter, but not really fit. Like I'd lost a lot of my marathon fitness, but I didn't really have something to parlay it into next because we didn't know what was going to happen. And there was a lot of back and forth in my brain, but it wasn't my most fit and it wasn't my most confident. It was probably one of my most confused. And I look at that picture now with my abs feeling the way they do from sunburn. Yes, from sunburn, where I only got to demonstrate the moves 2 days last week because everything kept coming at me. But I have to laugh because I look back and I'm like, man, I felt bad about that. I was great. I was so strong. I wrote this whole series and it didn't faze me. I wasn't sure if it would be hard enough. Well, coming into a place where I've not been doing Pilates 6 days a week and I've not been doing really any strength at all, because I tell you guys, I hate strength. I will only do it when coerced. And half the reason I write programs like Sunburn is for me, because otherwise, if given the option, I will opt out. I'd be like, oh, there's always an option. The option is no. And I will say no to strength every day of the week. But the 2 days I said yes were enough to get the top part of my abs, talking to the bottom part of my abs. And I reach for things and I'm like, oh God, that's not comfortable. So it's just the right amount, I think, of burn. Where activation, all those muscles, I think it comes from the dumbbell reach overs, where I'm like, God, you really do have to use all of your torso, all of the front part to move a weight back and forth in that position. So I tell you this, between that and the rollouts, I'm hurting a whole lot. And I look back at the day when I didn't feel fit at all a year ago today. I have to go, what the hell was I thinking? Wherever you are, you will probably look back and think to yourself, God, why didn't I give myself more credit? I was great. I was doing just fine, because that's how we have been programmed to think. What can I do better? Zero appreciation for where we are or what we're doing right now. So I love you. I appreciate you. And I want to thank you for spending yet another week with me and being here now. I just filmed a Monday motivation that hopefully will be, have you raring to go tomorrow morning. Look for that on our Instagram page. And I'm not sure, Nikita, do we put those on our Facebook page too? They definitely go on Instagram. I think it might just be Instagram. Either way, love it or hate it. Let us know what you think, what we can do better, or what you would like to see more of. Here we go. As we get ready to go into the question and answers, I'd like to also say hello to all the new subscribers we got this week. I'm so excited to see a lot of familiar faces coming back in, and nothing makes me happier than you, all of you. And I got to say, welcome home. We missed you. So pull it all up. So weekly wins. Pull my banners. I don't use those enough anymore. Weekly wins. Yay. We've got Rhiannon Main finished her first week a fitness protection. She's one of our people coming home, and I'm so glad you're here. Thank you. And let us know if you're watching now or if you come back and watch later. Let us know what you're thinking and if you're enjoying it. We certainly hope you are. Erin White is getting her running habit back. It's on her Instagram is MRSWYT131. And if you don't follow her, you need to. She posts and tags me. And if I mangled that, go look at my Instagram at Coach MK Fleming. And then go to the page of the post that I'm tagged in. And the very first one you'll see is from Mrs. White and her run this morning, which her photos always delight me. Erin White is getting her running habit back, and she had a great week of it. I'm glad you had a successful week because I did not. The air quality here was terrible. And it's called ground layer ozone. Actually, I did a blog post about that. Finish that. Ground layer ozone. Click, that's me. Okay, here it is. Sorry that took a second. Here is, and I'm going to put a comment right there. So there, I say that I understand it's summer. Usually when I use the hashtag spring, I'm talking about pollen, I'm talking about exposure, and I'm talking about GLO. So those are the three, that the trifecta, the great thing that makes emerging from the winter months really tricky. Pollen, I've got the itchy all over my fingers, and that can make it really hard to have a good long run. It can also make it hard to take a good deep breath. So you might want to make sure that you start thinking really carefully about the timing of your allergy meds. I know the other night I accidentally took my morning pill in the evening, and it made it really hard to fall asleep. But if I take some of these pills first thing in the morning, it shoots my heart rate up so high that I have trouble. So if I take it in the evening, let it settle in my system and go to sleep, I can wake up and have a good run that before I need to take the next one. So play around with the timing of any allergy medications that you might be taking. Second, get really used to nasal sprays, like taking the saline sprays and running them through your nose. That can clean out a lot of whatever you've been breathing overnight, because if you have to wash it off the front of your car, you are definitely having to rinse it out of your body. Third, what we have, at least specifically right now in Denver, is the ground layer ozone. And the problem with the fun thing about ground layer ozone, you can read about it there at the link at the blog. But what makes it so painful is that it's hard to get a good deep breath. And that is actually your body protecting you. That is your body protecting you from air that is dangerous to breathe. So on those days, work out indoors if you can. I know last year was really tricky to do that, but it's also wildfire season where we are in certain parts of the country. So go ahead and check your air filter on if you have an air purifier, check the filter, make sure you know when the last time that you changed that filter, make sure it's clean now as we go into this part of the season. Make sure that they're operational in every room, and do take a few minutes to ask yourself, and when you go, like, what part of the day is going to be the most conducive to working out outside, if that is the only option available to you. If you're trying to force it through lungs that are resisting and alveoli that are closing, when you try to take in this air that might have dangerous pollutants in it, that's a time when you need to listen to your body and not force it. Maybe we have an indoor option now. So last week, with the air quality being as poor as it was all week long, I biked a whole lot more than I ran, and I'm okay with that. So rather than beating yourself up for what you didn't do or what you think you might be losing, let's try not to worry about that and be like, something is better than nothing. And anything indoors that is safe is better than trying to force something outdoors. Because remember, walking is a whole ass workout. Don't be afraid to walk. Don't be ashamed to walk. Don't hesitate to walk, especially if your lungs just don't want to take a good deep breath. There's a reason. Don't fight it. That's not weakness. That is literally your body protecting you. Okay. So congratulations to Erin White for having a better, more successful week of running than I was able to have. And congratulations to Rihanna. I'm so glad you're back. So now moving over to maintain. We've got Amy Wilson, had a great time at a local trail race. If you don't follow her on Instagram yet, please go do that. She is fabulous. And Karina Terry tried out a salt stick fast shoes at the recommendation of Daniel Phelan and Amy Wilson and found them to be a lifesaver in the heat. That's amazing. I used to take S-caps 10 years ago when I was really fit and running a lot in Manhattan summers. I have not needed them in a while because I haven't been fit enough that I've been excreting that much salt, or running enough outside that I've been excreting that much salt. So thank you for all of the suggestions that you guys put in the daily threads. There you go. We have no thinking of this week, and that is great. I will take it. But we got a whole bunch of questions. Let's get started. I've been sentenced to make the move to stability shoes for the time being. Do you have one or two you could recommend? I've previously run in Brooks Glycerins. I ran in Brooks Ghosts for 6 to 8 months after Violet. And I remember that for me being a goal because I hate stability shoes. Stability shoes are heavier. And anyone who's known me for any period of time knows that I want to wear as little on my feet as humanly possible, specifically in the upper. I want a really light shoe with a really light top and a really responsive sole, meaning that I can feel the earth under my feet each time my foot hits the pavement, which means that my shoes wear out pretty quickly. But I'm willing to make that trade-off. When I was coming back into a running pattern after giving birth each time, I needed stability shoes with insoles, and Brooks Ghosts were about all I could deal with because stability shoes always have all this fucking padding on them all the way around. Hokas are okay. I don't love my Hokas. I know I'm supposed to love my Hokas because everybody and their mother loves Hokas, and they do sponsor a lot of athletes who I do love. I have yet to find the Hoka that works really well for me. I love the way they're made. I hate the way they fit my feet. The smalls are a little too small. The bigs, anything that's like half size big will flop around, and it's really awkward. But I know a lot of people really do like their Hokas for stability shoes. I liked walking in my Hokas, but they are, again, even their light Hokas are still heavier than I like having on my feet at any given time. So start with the Brooks Ghosts, but if that's got too much padding, try something else. It's all pretty much going to feel the same. The Brooks Ravina is more of a trail shoe, but it is also their standby stability shoe. So don't hesitate to look at that one too. I'm doing sunburn and saw that I can sign up for office hours. Yes, you can. I haven't done these before, and I'm a little confused. What kind of question would I bring to office hours versus submitting to Ask Away? You don't have to. It's just an opportunity. Office hours were something I used to do a long time ago and got out of the habit of doing because it was eating up into more and more of my time in the conversations during a certain period. We're getting further and further away from running. So now that feels like a lot of the dust is settled. These are just 15-minute one-on-one sessions where we can just chat. You can ask me questions that you don't want to ask out in public. You can you don't have to use them ever. I just wanted to start rolling them back out again and first make them open to everyone in Sunburn and see that I could get somewhere good and stable and what people would want to do, because I don't want to be like, here, you can do this, but only one a month or only one per training cycle. Like I know this sounds ridiculous, but I really don't like rules. I want people to know they have an option that they value, but not so much pressure on it, use it or lose it. So it's just rather, hey, I'm available. I love talking to you guys. I'm in a really good place where I can do that again, and it's super fun. So I would like to talk to you guys more. And the easiest way to do that is with these 15-minute one-on-one sessions. So you don't have to do it, but they're there. So my office hours are a guaranteed time, blocks of time that I'm setting aside, one block in the afternoon and one block in the morning every single week. We're starting with participants in Sunburn. It seems to be going pretty well. We're at a stable place. I'm not like wall to wall with people that are really stressed out about marathons or their upcoming race. And I'm be happy if we get there again. It's totally fine. But for now, it's pretty relaxed. And since it's so relaxed, I would like to take advantage of it. They're whatever you want them to be, but they're not something you have to use at all. I guess a good example, if sometimes when people, if they have a medical condition and they don't want everyone to know about it, like a lot of the cancer patients that we have in our programs, we have various people who are in different stages of cancer treatment and or rehabilitation, and they just don't want to talk about it because I get it. They don't want to be cancer girl wherever they are. And I respect that. So the one-on-ones is an opportunity for them to ask me like the radiation specific questions without having everybody be like, oh, you got cancer. Because most of my friends who are battling cancer just don't like, I don't want to talk about my cancer 24/7. So this is an opportunity for us to talk about, answer your questions without having, doing so in a way that opens up the floodgates for everyone to ask you about the cancer you may or may not want to think about. So that's just one option. By the way, you can always talk to me about anything. There's nothing's ever off limits with me. Whoops. Waiting for that to happen. We will play with you later. Let's see what else I got. Try these guys. See if they stay on better. It's what happens when my body is still covered in sweaty stuff from the pool. Yay. There we go. A little heavier, a little more sparkle. So that is what I would do. You can ask whatever you want and ask away. But now that we're, again, if it's, you don't have to ask me something super personal or private. If you just want to chat, we can do that too. It's whatever you want it to be. Same with ask away. So, hi, Coach. I'm running a full marathon this fall, and I know there is maintained a full schedule, but can you talk about going from rebuild to marathon? I've stayed with rebuild over time because I don't find that my body handles the pace work and maintain very well. That's totally valid. So the two things that I would do, I would grab the TAF plan, and you're going to be fine on the TAF plan. But what I would do is start maxing out your rebuild runs. Because in rebuild, I give you the option for 30 to 60 minutes most of the time. You need to start gradually working your way towards 60 minutes on the Monday, Wednesday, Friday runs. So I can work with someone to come up with a graphic for you guys. But honestly, the difference from rebuild to marathon isn't going to be drastically different from maintain to marathon, but you will need a little more time, probably 12 weeks to build up those long runs, but you can do those on your own at your leisure. And the midweek runs, again, just sort of maxing those out and making sure that we're getting enough time on your feet. But if you've been this consistent with rebuild for this long and you've been doing the long runs, I'd say you're good to go. That's another question, though. If you want to reach out to me in office hours and we can sort of put pen to paper and start making individualistic tweaks for you, then I'm totally happy to do that too. Because here's the final thing. The reason we don't have these in Training Peaks is because they layer over maintain, and it was meant to do really nicely with like minimal disruption, so that all you have to do, rather than going and individually deleting all the long runs and then applying a different plan. And what if you have to move your race date? Then you've got to move. It just becomes a lot. So the easiest way to look at it is to have this in Training Peaks and then have something printed out or something just written down for your long runs that you can do as you go. And that is kind of what I would. It's not the pace work. You don't need pace work for any reason. What we do need to do is just make sure you were getting enough net time on your feet and that we're maxing out those. Because what I don't want to do is have you doing 30-minute runs 5 days a week with one long run dangling there all by itself as you go into the 8-week ramp. That's not going to work well. Sorry. The other part of F spring is exposure. That first day out in the sun, it's like whoop, 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 and you forget that like the sun takes a lot out of your body. It is sure taking a whole lot of hydration out of mine today. And I wasn't even in the sun. I was in the shade, except for my legs. So that is, stay and rebuild. We'll make it work. Hit me up in office hours. We'll make it work specifically for you. Happy Sunday. I'm finding I have very little appetite lately, and I'm struggling to eat enough to meet my needs, and it's starting to cause some negative effects, fatigue, unhealthy weight loss. It's not intentional, but I'm very, very busy, and I'm not finding myself hungry, so I just keep forgetting to eat. I remember you talking about not being very into cooking, so I'm hoping you can recommend some healthy and tasty little no prep food options that I can eat while running about. One of my favorite things, there are at Costco, they have dal, madras dal, and sag paneer, which are beautifully healthy Indian meals that I don't even necessarily heat up because I'm nasty. And my husband is just like, when he sees me, but I will take one of the dal packets and a brown rice, and they're already pre-cooked, and I don't eat them hot. I just mix them together in a bowl and let them sit, and time will do the same thing heat will do for these two elements in a bowl, and I'll come back to it when I'm hungry. That's one thing I do. Another thing is bananas. Bananas are one of those foods that I never really get excited about, but if I see that, it's 2 p.m. and I'm really, really late for lunch, and we usually eat dinner around 5, I probably don't want to sit down to a full big lunch. So that's where a banana would come in handy. Excuse me, bubble water. I'll never do that on broadcast again. I would do banana and a slice of toast. My big luxury though, these past 2 weeks, I have been making breakfast for myself. I've been making a real point to eat breakfast with the kids. We've got this air fryer now, and we can do massive batches of toast all at once. And I'm poaching a couple of eggs and putting them on top of a gigantic slice of dry toast, and it's delightful. And I have found that has really fueled me in a super cool way, because as someone who used to get up and run before dawn almost my whole life, these past 2 years have been really disorienting because I don't have morning help where I can do that. I'm needed in the house doing things. And when I find time to go run, I still really want to do that on an empty stomach. But if I eat first thing in the morning, like around 7 o'clock, odds are I'm not going to be able to get my workout in before noon when the childcare comes. So that's a good 5 hours, let my stomach totally settle, then get my workout in, have a protein shake, take my shower, then come back and have some dal, and that'll tide me over well until dinner. So that's one thing that I like doing a lot. Another is having good options of frozen vegetables like kale around that can cook really quickly. I get packets at Costco too. I also get shredded kale, and I'll buy it and I will thaw it and I will leave it in the fridge, and I will make smoothies with that and with fruit that's about to go bad, because I'm never gonna, let's get real, y'all, I don't make banana bread. Sometimes the nanny will, and I get excited on banana bread day, but me, I'm never going to do it. I will take those and make smoothies though. So those are two things that I highly recommend, because one thing is for sure, I do love a protein shake when I remember to do it. And on a day when I'm behind, it's not the best idea. It's not a meal, but it's better than nothing. And if we can just get into the habit of this is better than nothing, and then as we start working our way back towards a healthier habit, rather than saying this is plenty or this is enough, that's really the mindset where we need to stay as we started trying to make meals more regular again. And I totally hear you on that. It was never intentional for me for years and years and years too. I'm not that person anymore. I've got my appetite back, and it's huge. Violet did that to me. But for years, I would forget to eat. That is legitimately a thing. I have ADHD. So when I get really into something that I'm doing, I will not have any idea how much time has passed. I won't pay attention to my body or its cries for help or anything going on around me when I'm hyper-focused and working on something. And, there's good to not being in that space lately, but there's the downside to it is I'm not producing as much content as I have in the past. I was like super prolific, and now it's been down to like a trickle. And that's partially because I've got more going on, and partially because some days I just don't have anything to say. Ain't nothing wrong with that either. As long as you're taking care of yourself and you're not explicitly trying to lose the weight or trying to lose weight, then there is no problem with having snack foods around or protein shakes. I just get nervous at advising people to use protein shakes because they're often seen as a meal replacement, and that's just not a path we want to go down. But it is, in a pinch, better than nothing, and it's a pretty good snack. So that is how I feel about that. I love smoothies. I love bananas. I love dry toast. And I do love me some protein shakes. I used to keep hard-boiled eggs around, but I'm kind of done with those these days. I'll forget that I have them in the fridge and they go bad. Oh, well, the things I used to do when I was like super hardcore marathon training, like 2 hard-boiled eggs immediately after every run, then my breakfast later. Yeah, my life is not as regimented as it used to be. But when it's not, the downside to things not being regimented is that you forget to do basic things. So I'm with you all the way. Prepping it can be a lot. I don't prep very much. I just keep a whole lot of ready-to-eat Indian meals in my house. And luckily, there are lots of those at Costco these days, which works well for me. Heading over to Maintain. I won, but I can't remember where to find the marathon schedule. Can you help? Oh my God, what did you win? Which race? Can't wait to see. The marathon schedule, what has historically been in the Facebook groups, Tenacious as Fuck. If you can't find it in the files tab in your Facebook group, let me know. Send me an email at mk@fitnessprotection.com and I will get it to you. Next question. I seem to have developed shin splints. Ooh, ow. Can you recommend some stretches? No, sorry. Shin splints are tough. And when it comes to what we want to do there is not stretch them out. We really want to mobilize the muscle. And it's going to hurt It's going to be real uncomfortable, but we need to loosen up your shin as much as possible. Let me pop over here 1 second into the YouTube channel. Shoot. All right. No, that did not come right out. Okay, I will come back to that rather than make y'all wait, but I did film a video a while back using a therapist's thumb where I spend a lot of time mobilizing my shin, and that's exactly what you need to do for your shin splints and for your plantar fasciitis. Also, go back to the foam rolling video and watch the first 2 moves, the bone crusher. I know I hate the name too, but it is one of the best things that you can possibly do for plantar fasciitis prevention and shin splint maintenance. So that's going to be much better than any stretch, because stretches are likely, if the muscles are already that sore, then everything around it, all the tendons that make that muscle move, those are going to be stretched to the limit too. So stretching that out isn't going to be as effective as mobilizing. So once we get mobilized, then we move into toe yoga and move into some of the a short program I call Fancy Feet. And I'm happy to share that with you guys too. I've worked Fancy Feet into Sunburn, but it's not exclusive to Sunburn. It's just a really good series to make your feet stronger. And I threw it into Sunburn because if you've, like me, not been doing strength for a really long time and you haven't been spending any time barefoot on your Bosu, then maybe it's time to like wake your feet up a little bit. So it's good for everyone, but Fancy Feet is a short series that I'm happy to share, which can be really helpful too. But first, we got to work through all the gunk that would have built up to cause the shin splints. I'm so sorry. Hi, I'm coming to FPP from a run-walk background, and I'm wanting to get your thoughts on what to expect when running longer distances without walk breaks. I understand the whole 140 pace for workouts, but how do I get an idea of what a sustainable race pace would be? Could I guesstimate that it should be the average of my run interval pace during workouts, or you don't worry about it too much, because we need to spend a lot of time getting used to that good jog pace. And then when we have mastered that over a couple of long runs, that's what the other interval workouts are for. They are geared more towards fitness and teaching you how to use the gears above easy effort, how to find them and hold on to them. Because one of the things that I found in my years of coaching is that most runners really don't know the difference between 5K pace, 10K pace, half marathon pace, marathon pace. It's like, what's your pace? 8 minute miles. Okay. What's your 5K pace? 8 minute miles. What's your marathon pace? 8 minute. Okay. Okay. And that's not the way it should be. It should be a different pace and a different effort level as the race gets longer. So what we're going to do is start with that thing that you could do theoretically all day long, which is jog at 140 or below. And then your marathon race pace will be slightly faster than that, but not much more than a minute faster than that most of the time. And I know that's really frustrating for people to hear, but if you want to train to run walk specifically, that's okay. But most people come to me because they want to be able to run without stopping. And the way to do that is to slow the run portion way down. The flip side of that, though, is that your body responds to that so much faster, and it becomes so much more efficient than a run walk pattern, that you should start to see pretty significant improvements, what feels like improvement to you, especially in the long runs. Not right away, but I'd say 5 to 6 weeks in. It makes a real material difference. If anyone else has a lens or experience on this that you'd like to share, let me know. We'll go ahead and throw it in the comments. But that's really what I would expect, is that it's going to be faster, but it's not going to be like whoosh, massive faster. I'm not like tricking you guys into this like comfortable pace that you will never use again, because you will. This will be the pace that you can always come back to, where you can, because when you're running slightly faster than that, if you start to burn out, I can slow down to my 140 pace and be just fine. I know I can hold that for a long time. And that is a kind of a resting spot, and you can think of it that way, where like if I were to run the whole marathon, my 140 pace, I know I could do that. How much faster can I go might not be the right question on race day, but rather thinking about if I need to back off, where do I back off to? My 140 pace. You don't have to go from run to walk. We're now going to find that nice, easy effort spot in the middle where you can collect yourself, recover, and if you feel better, start to speed up again as the race goes on. Cool. All right. Those are all the questions. Thank you for coming to play this week. Alicia Budd, I'm reading The Stand, and I'm thinking of you because they keep talking about the mysterious people from Atlanta coming to work and study disease. And I'm like, you mean like Alicia? And I get so excited. So yes, Alicia Budd, I read Stephen King this week, and I thought of you. Hope everyone has a wonderful week. Don't forget to say happy birthday to Coach Nakia and to Chrissy. And if you're a Peloton rider, say hi to us because I think we're going to be riding again this week. Go check out our Instagram for more details on that, and I will see you in office hours. Your coach, you are loved. Let's go win at the summer, hopefully with less sunburn than I have on my legs right now.